Welcome to another video. Today's video I'm going to show you how to switch out your crankshaft position sensor on a 99 to 2004 Ford Mustang GT 4.6. Stay tuned.
Music bed.
All right, so the first thing we're gonna do here, I'm inside of my Mustang. So what happened is I was I don't really drive it now that I have that Camry there, but I was going down the road and I noticed it kind of cut out, like it, the vehicle shut off for like a second and then it kept going. So first, I was like, okay, that's weird, never done that before. Maybe I think it did it once before, but that's when I changed the fuel pump. I had an issue with the fuel pump. I know I did a video on it, which I changed it out just because the car has 200,000 miles. It's really old. The old one was still working, but I figured, change the fuel pump out. Why not? Well, the new one only lasted like a week, and then I put another one on, lasted like a week and a half. But the little hose inside of the module kept busting out. And so one time I was driving, it cut out, and I thought it was because of the fuel pump. Anyway, so I kept driving, and then it did it again, but this time it cut out, and then it popped. It like backfired really loud. Kind of sounded cool, but anyway, so I turned around, came back home. It drove home just fine. It didn't do it anymore. Got here, and this is the code that you might get. And that's kind of a telltale sign that it's your crankshaft position sensor. So it's a P0320, and it says ignition, distributor, engine, speed input circuit. Now, keep it in mind, it could be your connector, your wire, any of those things, or the sensor. So I'm gonna show you how to change out the sensor just because, again, this car is 2002, so it's about 21 years old. It has 206,000 miles on it now. Obviously I did put a new engine, but the crankshaft position sensor, I kept it. I figured, well, it was working before, so that's the reason that I think that's the problem. Once I get down there, I'll check the wiring. I did go through all the harness when I did the engine. Any wires that look bad I fixed, but I'll do that as well. It's weird because I drove the car in, I shut it off. The only thing I did was I unplugged the sensor, plugged it back in. So, I'll have to check the connector just because of that, but I never tried to start again until today. I was going to move it to the other side because I'm pretty much right next to the wall here, but it's not starting at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get it jacked and put some jack stands under there, safety first, and then I'll show you guys the process. Okay, so after you put your car in jack stands, something safe, go ahead and undo your drive belt. So all I did was, do the tensioner and then unhook this pulley up here. Mine is supercharged, so it's going to look a little different than yours if you have a regular GT, but you just want to undo the belt from one of the pulleys because we have to move the AC compressor, and I'll show you underneath to get to that sensor. Underneath the car here, crankshaft position sensor is right here next to your harmonic balancer, right behind the AC compressor. This is the plug here, so this is the plug I had undone before. And the little gasket that keeps moisture out is, it looks like it's kind of ripped. You can kind of see it in there. I mean, other than that, it's inside its plastic loom. I'm gonna peel this tape, Tesla tape that I put on it before. And again, I ended up just buying the sensor. I mean, I don't see the wires cut or anything. You know, I don't think that was the problem, but one, I guess, easy way to find out is I'm gonna plug this back in. And then I'm gonna go crank it. So all I done at this point is, you know, move the wires in here. I'm gonna crank it. I'm gonna put the belt back on real quick. I'm gonna crank it. If it starts, then I know, you know, more than likely the problem's in the plug here. So I'll have to get a new plug, a new connector. If it still doesn't start, then I'm gonna assume it's the sensor. I might change the sensor regardless, but let me go crank it and see what happens. I put the belt back on just to make sure. Let's see. Okay, so no luck. It still just cranks. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward and change out the sensor. Looking at the plug though, I probably will order one. These plugs, if you buy them at the local parts store, I think I talked about it before, they're like $40. If I get it from Rock Auto, it's like 10. And I can do the plug later, so I'll change the sensor out and then I'll order a new plug. That way I can replace it. But one thing to keep in mind is we're gonna loosen this bolt here because it's what holds kind of the wire. Although, well, let's see. Yeah, because this wire up here is kind of on the way of the bolt. I just don't want to stretch anything out. So, all right, come on. Okay, so this bolt here in the back, probably like a 15 or something. Yep, it's pretty big, but it just holds this bracket on here. These bolts might be tight, so you can get a little cheater bar. Help you loosen them up. You know, and this just kind of makes it so that all these wires are kind of out of the way. So you have 3 bolts for the AC compressor. 1, 2, 3, 10 millimeter. We should be able to get these off, or I'm gonna take the top this one off. Probably leave this one kind of loose. or leave it to the end, and then we can kind of just move it out of the way. So let me get a 10 millimeter. So we'll break these loose. And that's why we took the belt off, because the compressor is gonna have to move out of the way. So the plug to the compressor is right up here, but I'm just gonna leave it plugged in because we're not gonna take out the compressor all the way, for one. Two, I mean, if we took the compressor all the way out, we'll have to remove the lines. This bolt hits your sway bar here, but you know, once you take it all the way off, you can kind of just leave it there. Just make sure you put it back in place before you tighten up the whole compressor, because then you won't be able to push it in. And these are the air compressor bolts, so pretty long bolts. And then this is the last one here. So normally the compressors, I think, have at least one. It might even have two kind of guiding pins to kind of, you know, guide it in the right spot where it's supposed to be. So if you push it against the engine, it should kind of stay in the right spot. I'm gonna take this bolt all the way out, and then at this point it will move. You know, it's not gonna just drop because of the lines, but hopefully we have enough wiggle room here to get this sensor out. We can push it back a little bit, but it might be tight. We'll see what happens here. So now I'm gonna get an 8 millimeter. Get the sensor bolt out right here on the side. And actually, I'm gonna use a 1/4 inch drive because the other ratchet was too big. I didn't have enough room here with the compressor, so. All right, I really hope there's enough room for this to come out here. Once the bolt is out, let me just kind of give you a close look here. Got the bolt out, so the sensor, you know, just wiggle it. It has an O-ring, so you have to kind of work it up a little bit. Like turn it and push it out. I might have to get a screwdriver. Oh, I just used the bolt to kind of pry on it. Okay, this is gonna be kind of long here, man. Oh, you can barely get it out. So this is gonna have oil on it from the engine. It is magnetic here at the end. It does have a little bit of, like, you know, magnets pick up stuff from your engine. So this is the original Ford one. Again, I didn't want to change it when I did the engine because it was running. So let me get the new one and put it back on. I got a standard products one just because it has a lifetime warranty. So I figured if it goes out or anything, I can get a new one this way, or a replacement. So let's see if we can get it in there. And then the O-ring's gonna be, you know, right pretty tight in there. So just kind of wiggle it, make sure it goes in. Get your bolt. Tighten it up. The little slot on this new sensor where the bolt goes through is smaller than the factory one's hole. It's kind of bigger. So it's just a little bit tighter to tighten it down. And this is just holding the sensor in there, so you know, I'm gonna tighten it but not strip it. It goes into the aluminum cover, so be careful. That's back in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, the compressor has a little tab here to line it up, so I'm gonna pretty much line these up. And then get the bolt. And make sure I have that top bolt in there. Almost forgot. Just because if it's not in through the sway bar, I don't know, it just, you can't get it in there. So, all right. So got that bolt hand tightened. That's pretty much gonna hold that compressor in there. So I can put this one in there. And this top one as well. Now if I plug this in and it doesn't work, few things, right? So that plug is broken, the wire somewhere in here, or you know, worst case scenario, there's the trigger wheel inside here that's damaged. I would suspect the wiring before the wheel, because you know, I would have probably hurt something, the engine, but it could be any of those things. So tighten up your AC compressor bolts. These go right into the engine, so they go into cast iron, but also they're pretty small bolts, so tighten them up tight but not too crazy. I'm sure there's a torque spec, you could probably find it somewhere. And then don't forget this bolt here on the back that just holds the bracket here for these wires. Right. Gonna grab a small pick or screwdriver just to see if I can put that little O-ring back where it's supposed to be. Okay, so I just kind of pulled it out where the groove is, where the O-ring goes, but again, seeing all that, I'm probably, you know, I am going to order a new connector, just because this could be letting moisture go in there. Alright, so I hear a clip there. I'm gonna put the belt back on. I'm gonna leave you guys down here. I'm gonna go crank it, and I'm hoping it starts right up. Alright, so the belt looks good. Let's hope it starts right up. Okay, so that's it. Pretty straightforward process, you know. I would say about half an hour or so, but that's the sensor right there. Again, you know, check the wiring. Seeing that it started right up after I changed it, then I'm pretty sure that was the problem in the first place. But regardless, I'm gonna get that plug switched out, and just like I showed before, I'll take the loom off, you know, probably cut it here, splice the wires, and then I'll have a new plug. So but that's it. So pretty straightforward. you know, you can get the whatever sensor you want. For a crankshaft position sensor, I would get something that's at least a little bit more recognized. This one has a lifetime warranty, like I said, or get a Motorcraft one. Just, you know, that one lasted 21 years, 206,000 miles. So, you know, I hope this lasts half as long as that. But anyways, that's it. I'm just gonna lower the vehicle on the ground and then take it for a test drive. Pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.